Germany's busiest airport has resumed operations after hundreds of flights were suspended because of a climate protest. Activists broke through a fence at Frankfurt airport and glued themselves to the tarmac. Police detained 8 people, and politicians are now calling for tighter security.
It's Germany's busiest airport, serving almost 150,000 passengers daily. It almost ground to a halt early Thursday, when climate activists from the group Last Generation cut the airport's perimeter fence and headed towards the runways. Operations were halted and more than 100 flights were cancelled. The airport was back in operation after a few hours. The activists said they are targeting airports across Europe to remind travelers of the impact of fossil fuels used by planes on climate change.
I would say airports in general are, like, symbolically and also factual, the place for climate protests, right? So we're burning too much fossil fuels. We need to get off fossil fuels now.
Protesters blocked the Cologne-Bonn airport in western Germany on Wednesday, causing flight cancellations there. Across Europe, airports in Spain, Switzerland, and the UK were also affected following similar incidents. At Berlin's airport, the fence is still intact. It has so far been spared by the protests. Passengers here have different views on the disruption caused by the protests.
There are other ways to protest, not by taking the entire nation hostage during the summer holidays.
Our ecological footprint is not great, so if we are affected this time, we were unlucky, but the protesters are doing a good job.
At the height of the summer travel season in Europe, concerns that the protests could further ground planes remain, despite worries over climate change.
And DW Akshanka Saxena is at Frankfurt Airport following the story for us. And what's the latest? Has normal service resumed already?
Yes, operations have resumed on all the 4 runways at the airport now. Now, this is the busiest airport in Germany. Today, there were about 140 flights that were cancelled. There's still cancellations you can see on the board behind me. The people still here struggling with the chaos that ensued. People who have made plans because these are, school holidays. They were trying to get to, their families, so their plans were disrupted. I spoke to some of them here, and they said that some of them said while they agreed with the protesters on their demands, they're not happy with the way they're carrying out these protests. So this was the overwhelming feeling here of anger and frustrations. People are still trying to rebook. They're still stranded here with their families.
Mm-hmm. And tell us more about those activists. What exactly are their demands?
The activists are from an organization called the Last Generation, and now 8 of them have been detained by the German police. They basically cut wires at the perimeter of the airport and entered the tarmacs. Two of the major tarmacs were occupied today morning. And their demand is that they're asking the German government to formulate and lead with an agreement on cutting oil, gas and coal by 2030. So they want a global agreement, and they have vowed to continue with these protests unless these demands are met. Now, these disruptions are not isolated. There were other similar disruptions that have taken place in other European cities, including at the Heathrow Airport and the Oslo Airport. So they are a part of a global alliance of at least 10 organizations in Europe and North America.
That was DW reporter Akanksha Saxena. Thank you so much.